Welcome to the trap. Welcome to the trap.
Welcome to the trap. Welcome to the trap. Welcome to the trap. Welcome to the trap.
Let's go. Zen.
Trap.
Zen.
Trap.
Zen.
Trap.
Zen.
Trap.
Protect.
Yo, peace.
Welcome back for another Zen Trap Perspective. I'm one of your two hosts, Zen P.
Yogi LG.
The mission at the Zen Trap Podcast is to continuously seek, no, it's not. I keep starting with that. It's to inspire and empower people to continuously seek eternal peace to maximize their personal potential.
Amen.
We got a great video for you guys today. Again, the topic for the month is finding your peace in meditation. Yogi LG, why don't you tell them what we got?
All right, so we got a video we did today. I think it's a TED Talk. Love those. I think they're good. They're short. They're concise. But this one is titled Paying Attention and Mindfulness. This is by Sam Chase. He is talking about those two things. I thought it was a super good video, so let's jump right in. What would be your general explanation of the video in general, P?
So this dude, Sam, is a teacher. He teaches meditation and the study of conscious attention, which is a very particular and specific subject to me.
Yes, it is.
So he's just going on stage, just talking about the benefits and some facts and data that shows why we aren't really as focused, either not as we used to be, or the world is just becoming more of a distraction, and how one of your most precious resources, again, besides time, is going to be your attention these days. So he's just giving a lot of facts and examples on why that is and kind of what you can do to help keep your attention and focus and be present and live in the present moment. What about you?
Absolutely. I think he touches on some really good subjects, talking about multitasking, talking about staying present in the moment, how that ties to your happiness. What I enjoy about it is that he does reference like studies, and he gives you some factual stuff, like this is how much information the brain can handle. So it's a very well-rounded video in the sense of like it kind of taps into things that I'm used to talking about, as far as like multitasking. That's something everybody talks about doing, versus like super scientific stuff. So I thought it was a good balance.
On that point, what's something unique that you learned or something new you learned?
Yeah, so he was talking about probably the most unique or new thing I learned is both, I think. He was talking about how much based off like our sensory, our smell, taste, touch, hear, see. I think it's like we receive 11 million bits of information in a minute, like, or something like that. Like, we're receiving all these bits of information based off our sensory, and most of us are feeling those things unconsciously, but we can only grasp like 60 bits in that same time frame that we're receiving that. We're only really focused on about 60 bits of information. That's all the brain can really like focus on. So that was a super cool fact to me, like just knowing that I'm receiving so much information, and I'm really only focused on literally a 0.0001% of what I'm actually like experiencing. So I thought that was really cool. What about you? What was something that you learned or you felt like was super unique in this video?
I guess hearing where that experiment kind of came from, so getting more breakdown on that. I think a lot of people talk about the experiment and reference it. And the experiment I'm talking about is where people would rather take a shock than sit with their thoughts. So him explaining it a little bit more detail of how the experiment was conducted and how it took place was really interesting to me. So again, people were given the option to, not the option, they were told, yeah, they get the option, but they did it in kind of a sequence. So again, watch the video to really understand it. But long story short, people got the option to either sit in a room for 15 minutes by yourself alone, but there's a button in there as well. And they got shocked before they went in, so they know what the shock feels like. Everybody said it was painful. They sit in there for 15 minutes. When they finish, people say like, oh yeah, they rate what it was. Like, it was boring. I didn't like it at all. I really didn't like that. But they said they also didn't really like the shock. So now the second time they go and put them in the room, they say, they keep the button in there with them and they say, you can press this button And the experiment I heard before was you could press the button and end the experiment, but they said they just kept the button in there and you can press it if you want to. And they were saying how many people would press it just out of whatever the reason. And a huge percentage, let's say like, I don't know, I don't remember the actual percentage, but majority
25% of females and 60% of males.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah. Chose to press the button over just sitting with their thoughts and pain. But the thing that I really liked was kind of his answer of course, your most rational question you're going to ask immediately is, why are people doing this? Like, why would you want to press the button there? I like his answer of, we don't really know. We don't know why they press it. He said it could be multiple reasons. Everybody's different. Could be from anxiety. Could be from boredom. It could be that pain feels better than thinking. Like, you could be having bad thoughts. Or, some people just like pain too. So, again, and that could go in the boredom category. But yeah, I like his answer of, we just don't know. But I think they probably could have did some more data to kind of get to a root of, okay, these people press it because they're bored. Like, different categories. Yeah. But, for sure. Yeah, that was piece of information that I really liked and learned.
And just random in that video, he talks about how in this experiment, one dude, I think it was a male subject, decided to press it every 5 seconds. Like, after saying they would pay a significant amount of money to not get the shock, most people said that. This somebody specifically shocked themselves, like, I don't know, some ridiculous amount of time, every 5 seconds, basically. It's crazy. All right, so what was your favorite bar, or section, I guess? Like, what tidbit are you like, oh yeah, that's a good one, that's solid?
I love the multitasking section.
Okay.
Where he's talking pretty much everybody, not everybody, but most people think that they can multitask, and again, how inefficient multitasking is, which I read that in, I don't know which book, Atomic Habits, some book, so I'm kind of good on the multitasking, but I like to hear it again to kind of reiterate that process. But I guess my favorite bar, because the video is not that long, it's like 15 minutes, so I don't really have I guess a section, but 2 bars for me. Multitasking is a cognitive illusion. So your brain just keeps telling you you're really good at it, even if you're not, and you got data kind of showing you in your face that you are not good at multitasking as you would be if you just focused on one task and went on to the next one. What about you? You want to get one off real quick?
Yeah, I can talk about. I really enjoyed the him just talking about what mindfulness is, just because it's oftentimes interpreted so many different ways. Him talking about part of it is not judging the thoughts that are happening or your mind wandering. So he goes into talking about mind wandering and kind of oftentimes, I think it was 47% of the time we're actually focused versus the other 53% we're not. So, and your mind wanders all day long, basically. So I enjoyed that section. If I had to pick a bar, and I don't know, this is paraphrasing, but he basically talks about how when you're multitasking, you're actually not being present, and how that can actually lead to stress. You're more unhappy, actually, even. So I think that was probably my favorite thing, is realizing that you are trying to give your attention to all these different things, and it's actually making you less happy in general. You would be more happy if you focus your attention on something you deem important, and focus just on that. So I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, just like you said, the multitasking is training your brain to always keep saying, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? Okay, I like that. What's next? I don't like that. What's next? So now when you sit and just present, your brain is still staying in that what's next mode. What you said, I really enjoyed as well, the definition of mindfulness. I just wanted to read it and kind of get your thoughts on it. I really like that part too. I even put it in capital letters, the non-judgment part. So mindfulness, as he defined it, is the practice of paying attention to the present moment on purpose with an attitude of non-judgment. I really like the breakdown of this definition. I think it's very clear. It leaves no room for, I guess, speculation or interpretation. So
give it to me one more time, P.
The practice of paying attention to the present moment on purpose and with an attitude of non-judgment. So it's not ors and all of those things. And I know this is logical, engineering bullshit talk, but the and putting all those things together. So I think when we were talking last time about people struggling with meditation and stuff, a lot of those things inside of this definition, I think you could break different parts of it to figure out what specifically you could be struggling with. So some people can say they're like, I'm going to meditate, or I'm meditating while I'm laying down sleep or something. But it's some other parts, like, are you doing it intentionally on purpose? Or again, are you inside of your meditation? Are you trying to practice, not saying you're going to be perfect at it. Are you trying to practice non-judgment with your thoughts? And that last part of paying attention to the present moment, and again, doing it on purpose. Because I know we have a lot of times where we might can get in like a flow state, or again, our mind is wandering. So we're paying attention to something, but we don't know that we're paying attention to it until like after the thought has happened. So that to me would define like you're doing it intentionally. Like, no, I'm going to focus on this thing on purpose, versus your mind is wandering, you're thinking about this and you're just letting it happen.
Yeah.
I think he even had like a bar about that. So saying like, when you keep practicing that what's next type of mindset, you can become a creature of choice instead of circumstance. So to me, that's just saying like you don't really have a growth mindset. You think life happens to you and you don't kind of create what happens in your life, which of course is probably like a little balance, but
Agreed. I definitely enjoy, he goes into a kind of mindfulness practice at the end, and I really enjoyed just kind of listening how he was talking through that. I wanted to kind of point out that section just because he kind of talks about just breathing and how you don't have to like restrict your breathing in any way. Like you can just breathe naturally, and he goes into like details of your capacity of your lungs and all the things that you're probably feeling inside that you're not even paying attention to. So I thought that was super cool as well.
So what's something you would share with a friend or a loved one from this video that you learned?
The biggest thing is just like, I say this all the time, but what you water will grow. Putting your attention and focus on something specific that you deem important will ultimately make you happier in general. Like when I say what you water will grow, a lot of times people look at that as like, okay, what I give effort to will produce results. But ultimately, what I'm saying when I say that as well is like, what you focus on will just make you happier in general. Like if you put your attention to something, it's gonna grow you as a person, like more than it would grow that specific thing. And that attributes a lot to like just enjoying the journey, and not focusing on results, not being results driven. Like I don't need this thing to result into a certain thing. I need the journey and to enjoy that and to make me a happier person in general. So I would love to share that with my friends, family, loved ones, to take that point away that if you actually spend your time focusing on the things that you feel are important, you're going to enjoy your life more, period. So I thought that was just something good for all the people I love, for sure. What about you? Anything you want to?
I probably would share meditation in a different way. And I know this is probably making it sound negative, but I'm fine. I think the shock factor would help people like focus and pay attention. So instead of calling it meditation, I would share with people about taking adult timeouts. So I think it's a lot of people that just make themselves busy, keep their mind wandering, literally physically stay busy too, can't sit still. Take an adult timeout every day. Take an adult timeout where none of your senses are activated and you're doing what this mindfulness definition says. You're being present on purpose and not judging yourself for taking that time to be present. It could be little as 5 minutes. It don't even have to be 15. A little bit does go a long way. A little bit is not nothing is what I'm about as well. Like little bit of progress, 1% better. So even if you only do it for 2 minutes and you be like, whoo, that 2 minutes was tough. You keep doing that 2 minutes, you'll build it up. So take an adult time out. You frustrated, you upset, go take an adult time out and breathe. I'm not even gonna tell you to meditate. Take an adult time out. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to, it needs to just be intentional. You need to be focused in that 2 minutes or however long you deem that time to be.
Right.
And you need to not judge yourself for taking this time, because I think that's a lot where the wandering comes. And now you're judging yourself for judging yourself. So you just get into this
loop.
What's next anxiety loop. So practicing adult timeouts is what I would say.
All right, cool. Is there something that you feel like you can take from this and apply to your life in the sense of like it's going to change you or shift you or make you a better person, or something that you want to start practicing? Any of that? Did it target something maybe like you struggle with and you're like, man, that resonates with me?
I definitely have said it many times. I struggle with multitasking for sure. Probably a little bit still. I've gotten a lot better at focusing on one task at a time. So I think this video again just reiterates that for me, of almost time blocking and all this other productivity type stuff. So I just really want to make sure I'm blocking out time to do stuff so that I can make little steps and progress into stuff versus just having a multitude of things in different places and getting lost in those. So I just want to be more intentional with my time and my focus. What about you?
I think the thing I took is just focusing on what's important to me. I think sometimes I get caught up in focusing on things that aren't necessarily important to me, and recognizing like, it's good that you're focused on something, you're in the present moment, all that stuff, but it also has to be important to you. So I think that's something that's gonna like kind of just tweak how I move about. Like, hey, is this? I know I'm doing this and I'm focused on it and I'm putting my effort into it and all this good stuff, right? I'm mindful of where I am and taking into account all my senses and all this. But is this something I care about? Is this something that I feel like is important? And knowing that's going to add to my happiness when I do decipher like, hey, I don't want to focus on that. I don't need to focus on that. That's not important to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got any last words from the video? Anything in general?
Ultimately, like it was a pretty straightforward video. Again, I recommend you go watch it and absolutely do the mindfulness part at the end, just because like even him talking me through it, I was just like, man, like I learned things about the lungs I didn't know, or learned things about just kind of how my breathing can settle me. And I sometimes feel like I gotta force myself to breathe on a pattern and control my breathing, but just like listening to my body and taking in all the senses around me. So I thought it was just a really good, I must say, short meditation. But it was good. It was a good video.
Yeah, same. I would just reiterate again what you're saying. You can meditate however you want. Call it an adult timeout or whatever you want to call it.
That's a good one.
Take
adult
a break.
timeout.
Focus on your breath. You don't even really have to focus on your breath. You don't have to. Just like Yogi LG said, you can meditate however you want. Get curious about yourself, about your body, about what is bothering you and stuff.
Feeling?
Take an adult time out and figure it out. Just sit with your thoughts. So this is, again, our topic for the month. We're going to be talking about all these types of things. We got some guided meditations coming towards you. We got another interview for this month coming up. So we got a lot of stuff we want to do for this month. So let us know in the comments if it's something you want to see, or if it's something that you want to talk about, or if you even have some advice for other people on how they can find peace that you do, or some meditation advice. We want to hear about it.
Absolutely. This has been another ZTP, Zen Trap Perspective. I'm one of your two hosts, Yogi LG.
Zen Pete.
You can't do nothing else. Protect your peace.
And make sure you protect your energy. It's the Zen Trap.
We out.
We out.